Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has dropped a bit more since the last update. We're now at around 55k, already dropped down to the 1.38 extension at 53.8k. This is still the daily chart. This is still valid, and 50,700 is still the main support level for this overall thesis that a wave 4 is unfolding. Now, granted, a lot of people ask me, okay, what would be alternative scenarios? We talked about them before. If we really see a break below 50,700 and Bitcoin cannot maintain the 50% retracement, and yes, it's already a deep wave 4 for Bitcoin, I have to say. Bitcoin doesn't like deep wave 4. So, of course, there is a warning. There is a warning that things could break. Things can always break. But yeah, what would be alternatives? I mean, we talked about that before. It could be, for example, that we're dealing with a triangle pattern. Okay. So this would be from this third wave top in 2021. We have an A wave down. We have a B wave up. We would be looking at a C wave down, possibly into the 20 or even 30k region. D, E, this would take possibly into 2025, maybe even 2026, and we'd be dealing with a sideways correction. Okay, so that is one scenario. That shouldn't be new, but that would be what I'm watching for below 50,700. Another scenario is that I'm wrong with regards to the wave degrees, and the third wave actually sits here. But then I would have to tidy this up. Instead of a 1-2-1-2 setup, we'd probably be dealing with a large 1-2. And then we're already in a larger degree wave 4. Where has that gone? Here. I think it's this one, isn't it? Maybe. Need to check that, but it would be okay. We are in a larger wave 4, and the support zone would shift lower. Let me just double check that. That would open the door potentially to 42k. Okay, 48.5 to 42.6k. That would be another scenario. It would, however, only. Well, I will only put it on the chart if we get down to 50,700, which might very well happen, right? Let me go zoom back in. The short-term price action is still bearish, okay? And we were still watching for one more low yesterday, and this happened. But obviously, as you know, not a secret, Bitcoin needs to turn around now, or it will likely change the structure or require a change in structure. Bear in mind, the short-term price action is still bearish, and be careful with long positions until the short-term price action is bullish again. If you are interested in additional updates, check out our X follower or X network. You can follow here. Posted late yesterday that, let me just highlight that. Posted late yesterday, for example, I'm going to read it out to you. Looks like that one more low is in the making, and that if Bitcoin goes down to roughly 56 to 55k, it increases the probabilities that a separate BC pattern, as highlighted here, isn't necessarily needed. So Bitcoin made that one more low directly, and we might not need that additional BC pattern. I still have it on the chart, and take a look at the short-term chart. You know, I still have it on there because we need a resistance area, right? So if there is a successful reversal, we need a break of resistance, and that's sort of been very consistent with previous updates, previous analysis, that we are looking for lower prices in the short term until we get a break above resistance. You see here as well the descending trend line, which I still have on the chart, and I highlighted that watch the trend lines for early breakout signals. Now, naturally, as long as the trend line is respected, yeah, there is no breakout signal. So I hope that's clear. Let's go to the smaller time frame. Again, if you're interested in updates, you can also vote for coins here for videos for Saturday. Yeah, feel free to check it out. But let's go back to the shorter time frame wave count. I just want to make that very, very clear again. I want to make it very, very clear again. The short-term price action is bearish. We always go with the trend on this channel. The trend is down since the 7th of June top, okay? You could say I'm short-term bearish. I have been short-term bearish now for more than a month or so. I don't know. Since this decline started, as long as we stay below the trend line, we stayed below resistances, we've been looking overall still for lower prices. And still, we are still below the trend line. Even though I'd like to see a reversal signal here, okay, I go with the trend and the market. The market hasn't given me any signal that it wants to turn around. Yesterday, yesterday. This is, by the way, the 1 hour chart. This here looked potentially like the first 5-wave move up that we've seen in this decline since the 1st of July, but it failed to hold. Okay, so we look at lower. And this again, the rally that happened from the overnight low, that basically is only a 3-wave move up. Yeah? So there is no reversal signal. So it can still easily go lower. Your long positions need to reflect that, okay? Well, basically, in my opinion, you should be very careful with long positions until we get a first 1-2 setup. I think a break above the trend line could be a signal that we've started at least the B-wave rally into resistance. But then, because we've gone down directly so far, I'm not entirely sure if we get another BC. Okay? It's definitely come down low enough. So it's definitely deep enough for a wave 4. Okay, that's reflected by the blue count. If we now see a break above the trend line, the nearest trend line, and we have enough touch points, I mean, that's a good trend line. That's solid, and we're far away from that trend line now. Normally that increases probabilities we are gravitating back towards that trend line. We have 4 touch points here, at least, okay? And that's one to watch, and that could be a breakout signal. You know how quickly things can turn around in crypto, right? That's the problem. I can't, you know, when I make a video, when the trend line is broken, it's too late because it's gone. Also then we have the resistance area, which is adjusted. It's now between 57,280 and 61,470 or 480. And a break above this resistance area, plus we've got another trend line here, could be the next upside breakout signal. So what I can say is the short term is bearish. We have a support zone to watch, which has been respected for the last few months. Below 50,700, I will have to adjust the overall analysis. Bitcoin's long-term chart is not going bearish, but it will lead to a much deeper pullback potentially before we can get to those, let's say, all-time high targets. Okay, I personally would use that as more, let's say, for further accumulations. I've not really been accumulating in this area. Small, okay, small. In these positions that I've been accumulating here, I won't stop out of them. They are really smaller positions because for me, I bought in the bear market, and you know that, members know that. I bought in the bear market my core position. That core position is still there. And I did at some point sell, I think around 60K or something a few months ago. I sold everything I bought after October, after the rally. And since then I've started to slowly accumulate again, but I will not do large accumulation purchases until we see lower prices. So personally, and I think that is reasonable, I would see a much deeper correction as a gift. Okay, that's, I think, the best perspective to have, because accumulating Bitcoin at this stage lower would really be a gift. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. But besides that, there is nothing to say. The support levels is clear. What I will do though, and depending on how the day goes, I will work on that. I will add potentially alternative microwave counts, okay, for what would happen if we break below 50,700. So I'm not going to go, directly bearish below 50,700, but it will change the main support zone. The main, let's say, the short term will still be leading, okay? The short term patterns, they will tell us when something is turning around. So if I add an alternative scenario where maybe we could go down to 42K, the price doesn't need to go to 42. So I'm going to still track the micro to watch for the first 1-2 setup to the upside. Bear in mind, we're really oversold now on the daily time frame. Just going back to the daily, oversold on the RSI. That bullish divergence I talked about yesterday, well, it seems invalidated. It's not technically until the daily chart is, the daily candle is closed, because it depends on what happens today. If today the price recovers, then the daily RSI will likely show a bullish divergence. So that's going to be interesting. It's now a double bottom on the daily RSI, but we're oversold. Historically, that's usually been a good buy signal, but it's not always been the case, like maybe 8 of 10 cases. So that's sort of my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.